Mhm. All right. All right, everybody. Hello, everybody. Thank you for tuning in to Street Therapy KC. This is your man CJ Chris, sitting in the air chair high atop the WEB Du Bois Learning Center. Today is a special day. I got a few friends in the studio with me, a friend and some students. So we're gonna introduce them to everybody. This show we're gonna really dedicate toward the fathers. You know, we noticed that been going through a lot, been seeing a whole lot within our society within the last few months, within years of fatherhood. So we want to dedicate the show to fathers and say, maybe the good, bad, and the ugly, but really we want to celebrate the fathers and see what your dad means to you, and kind of go off of that. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce to my left, Mr. Michael Griswold. How are you, sir?
I'm doing extremely well. Thanks for having me, Chris.
Absolutely, my pleasure, man. Thank you for being here. And you brought two students with you, brother. Please introduce them for me.
Yeah, so these are two summer youth
Yes,
workers,
sir.
and I have Mosiah Taylor and then Jordan Johnson.
All right. Well, hello. How are y'all?
Good. How are you?
Doing good. Doing good. Y'all get that? Yeah, okay. Doing good. So, Mr. Griswold, you're a father yourself.
Yes, sir. Father of four.
Absolutely. And you have a father.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely. So, what does fatherhood mean to you, man? And the significance of Father's Day that's coming up here pretty soon.
Fatherhood, what it means to me, encouragement.
Yes, sir.
Fatherhood means someone who is a coach,
Yes, sir.
someone who is a leader, someone who is real
Yeah.
and honest with you, and just champions you and also picks you up when you fall
Yeah.
and reprimands you when needed.
Absolutely.
With Father's Day coming up, I would like to highlight my father,
Go ahead, bro.
Mr. Michael Ford.
Yes,
He's
sir.
always been there. So when I think of a father, I think about always being around.
Yeah.
Although him and my mom may have split,
Sure.
however, he made sure he was always at our house to see us, and
Very important.
he was always around in our lives and very instrumental in our
Absolutely,
lives.
absolutely, straight up, man. And I feel the same way. My father wasn't there in my life growing up, man. But I had to make a conscious decision to be there in my kid's life, and things like that. And I am that, And the model that I got from a fatherhood was really I didn't get a I didn't really get a good model, man. So I had to learn my fatherhood and my instructions really from the Bible. A lot of the things I had to learn was from Scripture. What I was taught was, you know, what you do with a woman and things like that wasn't really what was effective. It wasn't really what was positive. And I
Right.
wouldn't say it was all bad, and it wasn't just from a lack of having a father. But I had to learn the right way, through God's word, through Scripture, and things like that, made me become a man, and i.e. a father. And I'll toss it to you, the students. How do y'all feel about, well, your fathers? I don't think I got kids, but your fathers and things like that. How do you feel about fathers?
I feel like my dad. He's very supportive. Like Grizzy said, he gives like a lot of encouragement.
Good deal.
He's always there. I think he will. I know he will always be around, even like if he does leave this earth. I feel like he has engraved so much knowledge in me,
Yeah.
and so much support that even when he will pass away, I think I will be strong enough by myself.
Yeah.
And I feel like he has made a good example of what a man should be like when I do grow up and get married.
Yeah.
I know what to look for.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And you, sir?
My dad and my mama, they're not together, but as they split and as he got older over the years, he's gotten better, extremely better, I would say. He's in my life now, and he would help me whenever I go to see him. He'll help me out,
Nice.
give me a couple bucks,
Yeah, a few dollars.
Few dollars.
So that always warms things over.
Amen.
When my first daughter was born, I didn't know she was born. But when I found out she was born, then I did everything I could to be in her life. And it wasn't always right, the right things and whatnot. But I had to learn real quick, as 18 years old, I had to learn real quick, like, okay, I got to be a dad, but You know, that's what it was.
Yeah.
You know, and just learning that process, man, and trying to figure out what a man was, and trying to figure out what a father was, and trying to figure out, okay, am I doing everything right and everything? You know, I didn't. But learning from those mistakes, man, I'm able to be a better person and do the right things for my little ones, man.
I can definitely relate to that.
Yes, sir.
I got custody of my daughter at 4 years old,
Nice.
and she really helped me become a father.
Yeah.
If I could say that, man, she was instrumental in my life. I had all this music equipment, and I was gonna set up a studio in my house, and I would have guys over the night before, and she's on the way to school in this building. She's on the way to school, and she would have to step over bodies who had fell asleep at my house, and I'm like, I can't have this.
Yeah.
I can't have her waking up to drunk bodies on the floor, but allowing her not to see that kind of helped me. Like, I don't want to put that out for her to see.
Absolutely.
So I wanted to give her a different perspective to see.
Absolutely.
She really was instrumental in my life, and our kids can be instrumental in our lives. At 4 years old, she said, "Daddy, lift up your head. God made you.
Yeah.
Throw your hands in the air. Say hallelujah."
Yeah. Man, that's dope because, children can change our life. They can make you grow up quick, and a lot of times they can either make you grow up quick or they can make you run from it quick. You know what I'm saying? They can make you grow up to the point where I got responsibility, so I'm going to grow up and stand up to responsibility. Or they can be like, I don't want no parts of it. Yeah. And that's a coward's way. I'm going to be honest with you, man. That's a coward's way, man. Any person that runs from the responsibility, especially, a child that, wasn't asked to be here, that's a coward's way out, man. And we both grew up pretty much in the same area and whatnot, in the same neighborhood and stuff, man. And our environment wasn't really conducive to what our environment we want to have for our children right now. Right. And we made great strides, man. I commend you for that. But we made great strides to be better people for that. And you're a youth director, yeah?
Yeah.
Speak about that a little bit.
All right, I'm a team pastor over at Macedonia Baptist Church, and just get an opportunity to pour in the lives of young people. Yeah. Not only that, I had a pastor who pours into me, who champions what I do, Pastor John Brooks, and he's been always instrumental. Like, so you have a father, but you also have father figures that will walk up to you and say, ask you, are you all right? And the way that they ask you, they know that they're concerned about you, and it just makes you break down. No, you ready to tell everything because you know that person cares. And I found that at John Brooks. Just really gave me this opportunity to lead these teenagers. I've been doing it for like 3.5 years, full time, and it has blessed my world. I've got cards in the mail. I still get cards from kids who have gone on. Like, man, just thank you for being that father figure for me. So you can have father figures, and I really enjoy what I do. Working with the youth.
100%, man. Thank you for that. Real quick, before I gotta highlight him real quick. But I want to point out this to everybody. These are the things that most of us call father. Dad, pops, old man, pop, call him dad. Those are some of the things that I think a lot of fathers, refer to. Some people call their father other words. We don't want to highlight. We only trying to get everybody. But I want to introduce to everybody, Dr. Randy Young. Dr. KUAW, how you doing, sir?
I'm good, Chris. How you doing?
Good deal, man. Here we go. We got her going on, but we got you. You got the echo?
Just a little.
If you need me to do something different, just let me know.
Okay. He said, no, go ahead and stay where you are. I think you're going to work it out over here. Yep.
I got it.
Go ahead and try now. Dr. KUAW, you there?
Okay.
Yep.
I'm here.
Wow, wonderful. Hey, what's going on? How are you, sir?
I can't complain, man.
Good
You're looking good, man.
Man, hey, I appreciate it. Looking good yourself. I don't know where you're at, man. You're somewhere out there in the world.
Yeah, I'm in the States. So.
Nice. Well, Dr. Wyman, I thank you for taking the time out to really sit down and talk to us about fatherhood. You know, we've been going through a lot and seeing a lot with death of black men and just the disparaging thing against fathers and black fathers in our neighborhoods and even in our media. But I want to reach out to you because I wanted you to just kind of give us your take on fatherhoods and what it mean to you, sir.
Okay. Well, I appreciate it, Chris. I appreciate the platform too.
Yeah.
And to all the other fellow followers out there that are guests on your show, I appreciate being on here with you guys. It's an honor to be here. And I would just like for to basically say that I am so I don't even know the words. I was thinking all day since I spoke to you about how I could address the whole thing that's going on out there, but I think I'll save that for another time. It's just, let me just say, it's very hurtful, and at the same time, a sense of pride that the world is taking on some responsibilities. And one of the things I want to tell everybody is, right now, it's the citizens and the people that's really doing things. It's not the politicians. It's not the people with big money. It's not the celebrity. This is truly a people's thing. And I think that kind of fades into fatherhood because there's been a very big disconnect between understanding and one of the biggest asset that any family could have. Everybody know mama is on top of things, and if mama ain't happy, the house ain't happy.
Right.
But a father, to me, and especially with the work I do, I've had to extend my fatherhood way outside of my own kids. I mean, far beyond.
Yeah.
And I got kids that I've been taking care of, man, all over the world for years.
Yeah.
If that means that me and my team of people gotta eat the basic food for 6 or 7 months, we'll do that.
Yeah.
You know, that's the extent of what we do. And on the other hand, it is also one of those things that I really feel like we are not connected in a way that we should, because there's some things I can learn from you, and there's some things you can learn from me. The pastor I heard earlier, the young man, he sounded like some things I can learn from him. And I think that's one of the biggest disconnect with Paul. That's one of the things I wish that we would do a lot better, is have that kind of connection with each other, to learn from each other, and kind of put the kids back in that whole, life is a village kind of thing.
Right.
And I know my daughter in particular would tell you that I'm not an easy dad to deal with. We just discovered that she's an athlete, and that harshness from, you talking about a child that never touched a softball a day in her life until her sophomore year in high school. Yeah. And now all of a sudden this big time softball player that everybody is chasing after. Yeah. And I want her to be the best in the world, so I push and push and push. And with me, what I do, I whatever I do for her, I even do for my nieces and my nephews and my friends' kids. Yeah. No, you can't tell me, because if you got a son or a daughter and you tell me they want to do something and they connect with me in any kind of way, and I know they want to do that, yeah, they'll run from me just like they'll run from you. They'll be like, oh, there come Uncle Ray. I don't want nothing to do with him. He's gonna ask me about this and want to know about this and get out in the yard and do this. I mean, that's just the extent of which I think a father is. Right. And I think that we have to get to this point to where my kids got to feel comfortable with you as a dad, and your kids got to feel comfortable. I think that's the point where we're all missing. But I hope we're headed back to that now.
Absolutely. Yeah, and that's the point where we really have to go, Doc. Man, we just really have to go in that area. Seeing the stereotypical father, on television, whether it be, they're acting goofy, or they just stupid, or they just acting, they're just doing buffoonery stuff, man, and not really stand up and leading the family. They the jokester, and I mean, I joke with my family, but then just the person that's really not taken serious, and we see that oftentimes in most of our shows. And when we look at that, it oftentimes it doesn't take the father as being the serious or the backbone of the family. It takes him as being a joke or the laughing stock of the family. And I think that's something that we really need to switch a narrative. We do have men that stand up we do have men that lead out our families and things like that, and not just the yes dear men. You know, and I understand saying yes dear to the wife, but just the yes dear, you know, running around, you know, with the 12 between your legs, man, things like that. You know, and I think we need to change that narrative, and we need to show our young people that narrative that a father can stand up and lead out his family, as the young lady here talked about her father being just that prime example of something that's leadership, and definitely somebody to look forward to and a mate when she grows up. You know what I'm saying? The brother here talking about the same thing, just, you know, about his father being instrumental in his life. And that's my thing, just taking what I haven't really saw growing up and trying to understand, you know, maybe what I learned that was wrong, and try to basically rewrite my wrongs in a sense. Yeah. Oh, okay. So that's really what it is, Doc. And on this Father's Day celebration, I wanted to just highlight the fathers and talk about what they mean to us and what they mean to me, you know, and never having that role model. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I know you come across a lot of young people in the different countries that you're in, and I'm sure they do gravitate towards you, I guess, you know, for as much as they can. So how do you work that? I mean, are you able to mentor some of them, or you just kind of gotta do your thing?
Man, I'm mentored. I'm mentored to the hilt, and
Yeah.
I'll be willing to take on one more every time.
Yeah.
Now, you know, overseas is a little different because, for example, I'm a paramount chief, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so for those who don't know, a paramount chief in America, we would normally say king. So I'm a king, and there's a responsibility that goes to that. So with that responsibility, I'm also, as a paramount chief, I'm also the father to men that are 70 years old, being in the role as a paramount chief.
Right.
And you have to behave in that role. And you can have 30-year-old men, 40-year-old men come up to you and refer to you as dad.
Yeah.
Literally.
Wow.
It took a long time before I even got used to that. And it's meant to be in a form of endearment and respect, but it's still a little hard to get used to. You see an old man with gray hair, and he can barely move, and he referring to, you know, he's calling you, you know, or the old man or pop or dad,
right? And
or a young man who has his own kids, and his wife is standing there and his kids are standing there, and they introduce you as dad. Some of these guys are, you know, you're the same age.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit getting used to, and then there's also a big cultural difference too with youth. A youth is all the way up to 35, 36 in some countries.
Wow.
Yeah. So when you extend that father figure out from there, one of the things I'm learning from that side is, as long as a person needs something, and it's the role of a father to be played, even if they 40, play that role until sometimes we'll say, you're a grown man, you need it in America, because at 18 we start pushing our kids out the door, you know, trying to get them on out of there.
Right.
As my brother can say, you just want me out of here so you can walk around in your underwear, you know. But you know, it's been one of those things, and then sometimes you run across something where dads are doing all they can.
Yeah. But
what they're doing is just not enough to provide for their family.
Yeah.
And sometimes as a friend, you have to step in.
Yeah.
And kind of help in that situation. And that's what I often find myself in that situation a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. I want to swing to the students here and just kind of get their take on, you know, as far as responsibilities and things like that. Is, you know, what do you see one of the biggest things as far as in your eyes as fatherhood? What does that really mean as far as what young people really need in a father, or, you know, what they really, you know, yearn for and hope to see in a father?
I would say maturity.
Yeah.
And just like confidence, you know, because there's a lot of people out there that they don't have like good confidence, you know. They don't believe that they could do stuff, and I think a father is really that person to push them to do things that they would normally do.
Absolutely. Absolutely. How about you, sir?
Well, my stepdad would tell me, he would say that any man could be a dad, but it takes a real man to be a father.
Yeah.
A father is one that really takes care of his kids. He's not just one that has a kid and move on. You feel me?
Absolutely.
It's an actual person that he's there for his wife. He watches his kids and he takes care of his kids and he raises. He raises them.
Absolutely.
He's there for him.
No doubt. Great answers. Oftentimes, some fathers aren't married, but they're still, they still have kids they got to take care of, and doesn't mean you have to get the opportunity to run from it. You just got to grow up quick. Griswold, how about yourself, brother, man? How was the responsibility and the focus on manhood, man? What should that look like, man? What should that look like for anybody as yourself?
Man, what that should look like is a combination of what all we just said here. And I think, like he said, he's called a king over there, and an older men are approaching him, calling him dad.
Yes,
same way within the hood, they call you OG, and you could be the same age as them, or even younger, and they call you OG, and I'm like, hold on, bro, I'm the same age as you, but they see you in a different light. They see you as having it together, as making it out of the hood, or as making it some way that they want to get to.
And make an impression on their life.
You make an indelible impact on their lives, and they call you or they refer to you in that manner.
Yes, sir.
Like you got something I want. And I need it. Like the brother said, I need that.
All right.
Absolutely. Dr. Youngblood, you agree with that?
I do. I found what all of the last gentleman there. What's his name?
Griswold. Michael Griswold.
Griswold?
Griswold, yep. Michael.
Griswold, okay. Okay, Michael. What Michael said is exactly true, because that father figure come in all kind of ways. Dad, pop, OG. My old man. Mentor. It can come in many different. I like that. And the what's the other young man's name?
Mosiah.
I'm gonna say this to him, that my mother raised 5 boys by herself. And my dad wasn't around that much. And I was happy they wasn't, because when they were together, it was horrible. Okay? They fought like cats and dogs. When they left, me and my brothers were jumping with joy, man. So, sometimes when it comes to the kids, I understand what he's saying. You still got to have that connection. Now, what I found very interesting, what's the young lady's name?
Jordan.
Yeah.
What she said was very interesting, because one of the words she mentioned was confidence. Which is something you naturally think a father has. So that was very interesting that she said that. And it kind of caught my attention real quick there. Because I guess it's something I never went without. So I never thought about that. A dad has to have confidence, and I would like to even know what she think about what she means when she say confidence. Is that confidence in raising the kid, or confidence in being a dad, or being a protector?
You can ask her. She can hear you.
Jordan, I mean, what do you mean by that when you say confidence? Because that was very interesting, that word that you chose there.
Like you said, in just being a man and raising kids, you can't raise a kid and not be too sure on what you're gonna say or like what you're gonna teach them. And then confidence in instilling confidence in the kid, like just building up their confidence.
How hard should a dad be? That's one I like to ask young people. How
hard should a dad be?
I like that.
My daughter think I am horrible.
I like that.
That's a good question, man. How hard should a father be? How stern should you be? Because my father was stern with my sisters. When I went to go visit him, I'm like, man, I was ready to go home. But the thing about it is, when my sisters got of age, they can get out of the house, but they went buck wild. They went crazy. They couldn't go out past a certain time. They couldn't have boys calling. They couldn't do this. And as soon as that age hit, man, they was out of there, and they went bananas. So by him being stern, and I like that cartoon called The Croods. My kids love this cartoon called The Croods, about this caveman. He's always trying to keep his kids in this cave to protect them. He don't want them to get hurt. Exactly. He don't want them to get hurt. He don't want things like that. But the time that she's like, no, we have to live. And that's the thing, man, is when I noticed that when my younger sister, me just watching them, spending some time with them, as soon as they got out to live, they lived. and they, you know, they live their life and they got kids and this, but they just they went crazy. And what I'm saying is what he felt right to do is protect them and keep them out of harm's way, keep them away from this bad boy, this, keep them out of the streets. When they got of age, they went right to that immediately.
Yeah.
You know, I'm straight to it.
Yeah. So is there a difference from structure and harshness? And I say that because my dad was strict.
Yeah.
But he had structure in it, and I even thought that even when I got older, when I got into drugs and in the streets, I was like, man, had my dad stayed with my mom, I'd be in college somewhere. I would be in the military somewhere. I would be doing something different, not what I'm doing right now. I would be doing something different. When I was in the world, I was like, man, had my dad stayed because of his strictness. He would whoop us. I mean, he would get us. He'd get us. And we was on punishment for years. I still think I'm on punishment.
I'm going to say for years. Brother, you still on punishment. Right. Dr. White, like you about to say something, sir.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, there's a couple of things that's real quick. My nieces and nephews say I'm the mean, nice uncle. I don't whoop. Like none of them. I don't think any of them. Maybe one or two of them may have gotten a spanking from me when my daughter was younger. She may have gotten one or two. Yeah. But my brother would say that sit down with me. He used to say sometimes, man, just go and give me the beat, man. Just go and beat me. Let me go on my way, because that talking to gonna last an hour.
That's the worst.
Yeah, that's the worst. Yeah. And but I used to always tell I raised my brothers, and one of them one day he asked why I never fought with them and all that. And I told him, I said, one day I knew you guys were gonna be grown men. Right. And two, I realized that if I had to beat all the time, I didn't have much control over your actions. Right. And so that's why I tried to only say that for what I call special occasions. If you got a whooping for me, my niece and nephew say, if you got a whooping from Uncle Ray, you deserve a whooping, because Uncle Ray don't whoop nobody. Yeah. But I got my niece. I'm gonna tell y'all this real quick. My niece, my brother told her when she's been getting in trouble a lot, and my brother went to her and he said, baby, men that's doing stuff in life, they don't like bad girls who do dumb things. And my niece with the straightest face say, Daddy, some guys like it. Yeah,
man. Oh my gosh. I got something to say.
So that's
though.
why I'm asking them, what's the limits to the father push? Yeah. If I had life to do, like I tell people all the time, if I didn't play basketball in college, I wouldn't have went to college route. I would have I wanted to make money. I would have been electrical, plumbing, carpentry, something like that. But basketball took me another route. Yeah. And so, pushing things on my kid, like I tell my daughter all the time, if you don't want to play softball, I need to know that now. Right. Because there's a certain way we're gonna go about doing this. And then if I know you don't, we're gonna go another way. So I need to know, so that's why I was asking.
Absolutely. And that was a great question. And it is, man, how hard should you be on your child? But then again, how soft should you be on your child? Because right. a lot of time my wife tell me that, I got 3 daughters, but my 2 youngest daughters are 6 and 9. And my wife said, man, them girls got you wrapped around their finger. I'm like, no, they really don't. She said, yeah, they really do. I'm thinking I'm being tough. I'm like, hey, okay, all right. Well, my mama, that wasn't too bad, But, right. But I noticed that been able to kind of manipulate things like that, and I had to put a stop to that, And I don't, there have been some time that I might have given them a swat or something like that, but I don't do it often because I think that I should be able to tell you, that you're wrong and you learn from that, as opposed to me all the time getting upset and grabbing a belt. I shouldn't have to do that to get your attention. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's the wrong approach to that. I mean, that's in many cases can be abuse. Right. You can abuse that, and I don't want to be that type of parent.
I think my mama was one of those kids that were, because my grandma was she was a Kojic lady, so they don't play. Right. And my mama was one of those kids where my grandma she was like real strict on her. Yeah. So when she got older, she went crazy. Yeah. She had me at a wedlock. So yeah. Now she's telling me nowadays that she doesn't want to be the same way her mama was to her. She's strict on me, but she's not too strict to where I can't do anything at all. Absolutely. Right, because I just went to a birthday party about 2-3 months ago, and her mama would never let her do that.
Yeah, yeah. And that's really
you gotta have that boundary.
Yeah.
You gotta have a little bit of freedom, because when I hate to admit this, I'm gonna tell y'all young folks this. When I was in college, You know, we could always tell the girls, so Chris, this isn't word for you for your daughters. They gotta be let loose sometimes. You gotta trust them.
Yeah.
I remember I used to try to push my daughter. She don't even like to go to parties. I used to try to push her. She didn't want to go to prom. I'd be the one pushing her. I didn't want her to when she leave. Yeah. Then she gonna go buck wild because when I was in college, them freshman girls, we knew exactly who was caught up in the house all the time because when they got to school,
they looked like it, didn't they? So, yeah, she been in the house. Yeah.
One thing I would like to say is in 1 Samuel chapter 3, I talked about it last Sunday, and Eli had these 2 sons, and the 2 sons were in the temple. They were having relations with the women there that were serving the temple. They was taking money from the temple that was supposed to be sacrificed. They were taking all these things, and the daddy knew about it. Yeah. And God became angry with Eli because all he had was a chat with him. Yeah. He what he did was gave him a slap on the wrist. He didn't do anything beyond that. And God said, because of that, I'm going to raise up somebody else. I ain't even going to use you no more. And was really angry. See, back in the Old Testament, God just cut you off like that. Yes, and he cut Eli off like, I ain't even going to deal with you because you was too soft on him. Yeah. And what makes me think about, if you're not going to do it, the streets going to do it. You ain't lying. If you're not going to do it, when she get to college, they going to do it. You ain't lying. So at some point, you got to add, it got to be a balance. Like absolutely. If you ain't gonna do it, there's a Dr. Youngblood son out there. No, I'm kidding. but no, you're right, Griswold, man. If you don't do it, man, there's a wolf out there looking for you. And he gonna find you. Yeah, he gonna find you. You know, it's cool to be hard, but it's okay to be soft. Like my oldest son, he's not my biological son, but he's my oldest son, man. He's 19 years old, and he would want to go out and hang out with his friends and things like that. My wife like, nah, he's a little too young. So I said, yeah, go over there. He's over at his friend's house. I know the dad and everything. Yeah. And so, but me giving him that leeway to go out and go spend time with his friends, and they go out and hang out with their friends. Mm-hmm. Now he's 19 and in college, and he's like, Dad, listen, I was over to some friend's house, and I just got that feeling. I said, what feeling? He said, you know the feeling that you told me? I said, right. That feeling to take your butt home. He said, yeah. Because, you know, I said, anytime you go somewhere, man, you feel uncomfortable, or you get that feeling where I need to go ahead and go, you need to go ahead and go. Right. And every time he's done that, I mean, he's not all the time he's called me, but he's normally told me later conversation, he said, yeah, I'm glad I left. I said, yeah, you know. So you got the spirit. I said, Spirit's got a voice, man. He's a spirit to talk to you, brother. It'll tell you when to go. And I said, you can go into a room and feel uncomfortable and notice that something had to happen in that place before you go there. And he said, yeah, sure enough, man, somebody was arguing or fighting right before we got there. Yeah. You know, so I told him, I said, man, listen to that. Listen to your inside voice, man. Listen to that. Don't go out there and just bump your head so many times where, you know, you can't come and understand, man. Listen to that, man. Yeah. So, man, all right, fatherhood. We've been on fathers, and Dr. Youngblood, you talked about OG, daddy, and the whole nine. You hit the old man, you know, and you know, I had a friend of mine had a father. He never liked to be called old man. Mm-hmm. You know, we call him old man, but he got upset behind that. But he wanted to portray this image of just being that type of person that was the stern dude, man. That's, you know, always told us not to sell dope, but didn't never told us what to do. You know, you're telling us not to sell drugs. You told us you got all this money and all this stuff. You tell us what not to do. But okay, so if you tell us what not to do, then what do we do? Right. You know, and oftentimes a lot of us gravitated toward that. Yeah. I got a friend of mine right now serving. He's been there for 20 years. He calls me every couple months and we talk. You know, and he said, man, I just want to call you and talk to you. He called me last week and we had a conversation. And like I tell my son, you know, normally he's there. I said, man, that right there is your testimony not to go that route. That right there is your image. You know what I'm saying, or your can't remember the word I'm looking for, but that right there is something example. Exactly. Thank you. Mm-hmm. That right there is your example. When my daughter mom called me and she's like, hey, you know, I need this and this and this. I said, that right there is your example to keep it in your pants. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? That's your example. You don't have to learn that. I went through all that for you. You don't have to learn that. And my homeboy for 20 years, man, I was like, listen, that's your example as well, man, that you don't have to
go through that lifestyle. He was, in fact, he was caught up in a bad situation. It took him, 20 years, man. But that right there, and he's by him being locked up, he's had to go through seeing his daughter being raised, from a baby all the way up to seeing pictures and stuff like that, to now seeing his grandkids being growing up to getting pictures and visitations. That's something that nobody should want to be in, man. And I think that's why I thank God for Griswold doing what you're doing, brother. I really do. And I thank you for bringing students in here, man. And because this conversation, it is a generational conversation that needs to be had with all of us. Dr. Youngblood, I talk to you, every now and then, man, and we have a great conversation. I appreciate you, man. Griswold, we talk often, man, and just to really, bridge that gap and really try to keep me focused and grounded on things that I need to take care of. I ain't stupid in doing things, but it's good to learn from people. Like you said, Brother Youngblood, you said you could learn something from Griswold, absolutely, and just we can learn something from you guys as well, just getting our understanding that we don't know everything, we have to be willing to learn stuff, man. And when you think you know everything, that's what I tell my son, when you think you know everything, man, that's when you're in a bad spot, because there's nothing you can learn if you know everything.
Man, my friends, they used to kick the drunks on the street at the liquor store. They would kick them, throw stuff at them, and all kind of things. And and I would sit there and talk to them, and they say, "Man, why you sitting there talking to him?" I'm like, "Man, I want to know how he got here, so I won't end up like that." Matter of fact, he got something for me. He can tell me something, and we can learn from so many people, man. I see fathers, and I learn from them. I learn from you, Chris. I learn from other fathers. Like, man, that's what they doing with their kids. They taking them doing this with them.
Yes,
they setting them up, taking them to get bank accounts, and, driver's license and stuff. I can do that too. So just we glean from so many other people, man. We wear so many hats, man. As a father, as a black man, as a husband, whatever you are on your job, we wear so many hats, man.
Do. Right. Just because you didn't see it don't mean you can't see it.
Right. My football coach told me you got to be coachable.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
My football coach tells us you got to be coachable.
Gotta be coachable, man. Gotta be coachable, man.
Yeah.
You gotta be willing to learn. Like I said, like I tell my son, he a point where he think he knew everything. I said, well, all right, well, how much air going in the tire? He was like, well, I don't know. I said, you didn't know that? Just little silly things like that, man. I said, you have to be willing to be learned, man. Because when you be taught, because when you're at a point where you don't think you can be taught, man, then you begin arrogant. You get arrogant.
Yes,
you think you know everything and things like that. And when people tell you stuff, you're like, man, you just blow it off. That's something that can change your life.
So true, man.
Yeah. So
I got
go ahead.
When you was talking about the word pops and stuff, my dad, we never called him dad. We always called him by his first name, which is Raymond. And I remember I was a little boy. He used to say, make him feel old. My mama, we don't even call her mom, we call her Bobby. So for a lot of people growing up around us, it was strange to hear that coming from us. And later on in life, we tell them now, my parents now, we're real good friends now, real close now, but when we were growing up, it was a very big disconnect because they wasn't that good at being parents. I tell them all the time, I say, it wasn't y'all fault. Y'all just didn't understand what to do. Y'all didn't know what to do. They was young. Neither one of them had patience or none of that. So, and Chris, in all our families, we have that. There's so many times I probably should have went that bad route, the drugs or doing something in that area. I can't tell you why I never went that route. I can't tell you why I never promoted my brothers to go that route. And I don't even really know what say does God times luck times a whole bunch of things. But we just never went that. But a lot of my family members did. I mean, a lot of them. I mean, we probably got maybe 15, 20 family members that were, professional street pharmacists.
Right.
Could do all that. And if you talk about what they was missing most in their life, with probably 9% of them, it is the father figure.
Right.
It is the father figure, And some of them now, some of my cousins, I bless their heart, their parents, my aunties and uncles or cousins, promoted them to do it. But for the most part, and I have some who never wanted to do it. They just wanted They was just, and sometimes they went that route with the older guys or easy money.
Right.
And then it's hard when you're a kid growing up. Your dad is not around, or your dad can't provide.
Yeah.
And you need money. Yeah. Especially for the girls, because raising a daughter, the cost of her is far more than the boy. I would tell you that because simply because. And my daughter just recently discovered getting her nails done, her hair done, and all this kind of stuff. Holy smoke!
Holy smoke!
There's nothing. Yeah. You can tell I'm country by saying holy smoke, Griswold. There's nothing that costs less than $150. Everything is $115. I don't care where it is, it's $115. I'm like, why is everything $115? Yeah. So, but we just got, and that's why we got to get back to that community village kind of thing.
Yes, sir.
And when we see a kid that needs something, we just need to extend that to them. Even if it's not full-time fatherhood, it can be a part-time thing for you, know, and advice for them every once in a while. Yeah. All her friends, she got about 5 or 6 friends, and they're so diverse. That's one thing I like about her. And those kids, whether they're white or black or Hispanic, right? You could always see they missing something, right? And anytime I see it, I don't just throw it on them, right? I ask a question or two, or my daughter will say something to me, and then I kind of ease it in, right? That kind of guidance that they may or may not need. Yeah. So, but yeah, that's that village thing we got to get back to.
It is, and I think I think all of us really are learning to reconnect the disconnect. And by us really learning to reconnect it, man, and some of us don't have those examples to kind of glean from. So we have to be what we never saw, and by us being what we never saw, we have to be sensitive to our children and to young people to the fact to say, okay, they sagging their pants. They're unreachable. Nobody can reach them. They're castaways. Nobody, they're just they got the hat twisted sideways. No, you smell like dope. No, nobody wants to deal with you, man. And I think we got to get past that, man, because we all had a past too.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? So we got to get past that. We gotta say, okay, well, what we did, our parents probably like, look at them, they playing the hippity hop music and this and this and this. We gotta understand that. All right, listen, we had a past, they got a past. Now, okay, instead of vilifying them, we may not understand the music and the language and things like that, but that doesn't mean that we can't talk to them. And don't come to them in a threatening manner. Come to them as, like you said, just come to them as, hey, man, draw close to them. You know what I'm saying? That's what the scripture says. Even when we draw close to God, God draw close to us. Right. And we have to understand that don't be forceful, but play a game of basketball. You know what I'm saying? Go somewhere, and that's that speaks volumes to a lot of people. You guys agree?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Yeah. So go ahead.
That's awesome. One thing I would add, man. How can I go and be unless I see?
Unless I see.
Unless I see you doing something, unless I'm coachable and somebody is instrumental in my life and a mentor of some sort that can really help me, and I should be on point to do that. I want to really thank my wife. One thing the brother was talking about earlier is that balance. Yeah. And I want to thank my wife because what she did was she was a stepmom to my daughter, and she really balanced me out, saying, let her do that. Yeah. Let her. She can have that. That's fine, Dad. Yeah. Don't be too. Because I was like, she ain't going there. She ain't what? What kind of sandals is there? See through? Nah. So I mean, I would trip.
I'll see your toes. Put them shoes on.
Go get y'all nails done. No.
Right, that skirt too short. No, you can't wear that.
Right. So she was like, no, she can get that dress. It's a summer dress, babe. She can wear sandals with that. She just really helped me out with that balance with my daughter. So
that's good.
Yeah, I appreciate her.
That's good. We all learning.
Yeah, we are all learning, man.
We all learning. We all need to learn, man. And as far as you guys' assessment and what you all would like to see from leadership, from fathers, from mentor, from people in the community, how they respond to you and how they don't respond to you. What could you see as far as us getting better at that?
I would say just learn the times that we're in, like learn our language.
Yeah.
Because I know there's some stuff my dad talks to me about, like I don't even know what that is.
Yeah.
Like so
I don't understand your mumble rap. No, go ahead.
So I would just say learn our language, so that's how we could get a better communication.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes, sir.
Yeah, it's piggyback off of what she said. It's a lot of things that parents should learn about what we go through rather than what they went through. Because I hear my grandma saying a lot of times that it's not safe to go outside no more like we used to. You know, they used to have ice cream trucks back then that was still kids, and now they got people walking down the street asking the kid if they want some drugs or something. It's not as safe as it used to be.
Yeah. So they had the ice cream truck back then. Now we had the ice cream man. Master P. That's the ice cream. Yeah. Don't sing that song real well, man. You know? You're reflecting back. No, but no, that's genuine. That come from the heart of youngsters, man, and that's and it's the language. You know, it's the language barrier. You know, I don't totally understand what my 19-year-old stuff, but he's sending me songs and stuff, and I'm like, wait, who is this? And then but if you listen to it hard enough, man, you hear the lyrics beyond some of the other stuff that you may hear. You say, okay, he's saying something. You know what I'm saying? He's really saying something. But then if you hear it and you hear the first couple words, you know, you like, I don't want to be flimmy flam 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 flam. You know, you're like, I don't want to hear that. But then when you get past that, you're like, you know what? He's really talking to y'all, man. He's really talking to y'all. And if I was to dismiss it, then I would lose the whole thing of what he's trying to tell. The whole concept of what his brother, help me in my word. See, I'm learning. But you will learn though. You will lose the whole concept of what he's trying to say. Like, man, I don't want to listen to he's discussing. That's not what I'm trying to get you to see.
Right.
Get past that. I'm trying to get you to see the bulk of what he's saying is social injustice. Is getting together, is building communities, things like that. Oh, okay, now I see it because I listened to him. But that's really what it is, the breakdown in the conversation. Yeah, and that's what we need to really get back to. Dr. Y, you said the same thing, man, that the village, the village is what it takes to raise kids, as we've heard before. Our communities went from, not being a community to just being a place to live and sleep. Our neighborhoods went from the neighborhood to the hood. We very rarely call it the neighborhood anymore. It's the hood. My street and my neighborhoods, my block, my set.
Where you live at? It's where you live at. It's not
where you live at. That's where I sleep. We used to know everybody that lived in the neighborhood. I used to go to everybody's house, man. Everybody would with me, and all that stuff. But now it's like, you can't with my kids and my kids. But long story short, that's why I had this conversation, and I really wanted to talk about what it is as a father and what we need as fathers, mentors, and community leaders to raise our next generation of people. Because right now, to be honest with you, if you look at it, they really making the wave. They splashing on the water. We just sitting back. I had some young folks that was a young organizer that came in when everybody did the walkout on the schools. She came in, everybody walked out of school. She came in and said, hey, can I come on your show? She talked about it. She said, we tired of gun violence, tired of mass shootings, tired of this, tired of that, tired of that. But ain't nobody pushing policy to change that. Nobody pushing policy to change that. Ain't nobody, And she said, we tired of that. Just recently we seen the Black Lives Matter movement, started with young females, young folks. And now they push the narrative where it's a young. I went to a protest, a lot of young people out there.
Yeah.
They push narrative. Now, if you don't understand that, if you don't get behind that, man, you lost. Straight up. They in the technology. That's where we at right now. If you don't get behind it, if you don't help and assist with that, man, you become a dinosaur. I ain't quick, dinosaur. Yeah.
I'll say to the young people, there's only one thing I'm not willing to give up. That's all. Is that anytime my daughter can always come to me and she can say she'll have me listen to a new song, and I say, oh, that's the Temptation beat. She's like, no, they just Young G just came out. I say, why you ain't just came out with that?
Right.
That's the Temptation. I go, thank God, I go to YouTube. I say, that's the same beat. I say, yeah, that's the same.
The same beat. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think we got a lot to learn from each other.
Yeah.
And and this is gonna sound crazy, but as young as they are, we're still competition for each other too.
Yeah.
Because if right now we'll all be in the workforce together.
Yeah.
and they trying to come up, and we trying to stay up.
Yeah.
And so we, there's a sense that we have to. So us older people really need to learn, as they say, their language.
Yeah.
And they also, for them to grow faster, they also got to appreciate the old language or come into terms. And I'm gonna say this: remember, there's nothing new under the sun except tomorrow.
Boy.
Wow, that's good.
Yeah. So
before we wrap this show up, I'm gonna ask to give your information or whatnot. But like I tell my wife, I was like, we're right in between. It's like we know enough about the old way and the old systems to really want to hold on to a lot of the old traditions and things like that. But we're looking at the young people that say, well, okay, we don't really understand a whole lot of the old tradition other than what y'all teach us, but we want to move forward. So y'all stuck in the middle where y'all want to hold on to the traditions, but yet move forward. So it's like, how do you break down tracks? I understand the past. Let's move forward behind the past, but still respect and learn from the past. You know what I'm saying? So that's kind of where we are. But Dr. Youngblood, can you give your information, man, in case people looking at want to reach out to you?
Dr. Raymond Youngblood Jr. I knew you were going to ask this question. Social media, Facebook is Raymond Youngblood Jr. Twitter is Youngblood YGB. Most of my stuff is going to be Youngblood YGB or Dr. Raymond Youngblood.
Yes, sir.
And anybody want to email me should do so. No, let me not do that. Just let me not. Because I'm gonna have 500 people email me and say, "Hey, you got some gold?"
Yeah.
So.
Now that's what your business is in gold mining, correct?
Yeah, correct.
Yep.
Correct.
What part of Africa?
I do primarily West Africa, from Liberia, Ghana, East Africa, Sudan, Uganda. Do South America, Colombia. I have a Mississippi River project here, a Red River project here. Pretty much, I don't know if you know the term small scale miners, but I'm considered like the leader of small scale miners worldwide. There's 30 million small scale gold miners worldwide. So if you want to know who the most premier small scale gold miner in the world or international, that's me.
Yeah. So
anytime somebody bring up the word gold and they don't mention the word Youngblood, then you know they full of it. Yeah. So that's who I am. I'm the only Black American gold miner on the planet.
Listen, boy, I'm sure glad when you said we know they full. I was like, man, I sure hope you don't say the S word. Boy, I sure don't. He
said full of. I was like, oh, hey, not on here, sir.
Yeah. But listen, Dr. Youngblood, man, listen, I thank you for always, responding to me, man. And sometimes you can, sometimes you can't. But I appreciate you for today being able to speak to us, man. Thank you.
No problem. I appreciate being on with all you young folks, man. Thank you, Chris.
Absolutely. Thank you, sir. All right. Well, actually, we got a couple minutes, so we're going to just go ahead and wrap up the show, Mr. Walker. Is that all right?
Yep. Hey.
Okay. Oh, yeah, yes. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, real quick. I just want to thank you for having us on.
Absolutely, bro.
Send a shout out to my wife, Venus, and my kids, Markesia, Mayan, Tristan, and Michael Jr. Yeah. Now, and I just want to say real quick to the stepfathers, to the fathers who's being a father and standing in place of somebody uncle who's being a father, a grandparent who's being a father, anyone who's being a father, a role model for somebody. Don't give up. Keep pushing. They need you. If you can't see your kids, brothers who can't see their kids, this destination does not define relationship. What I mean by that is I couldn't see my son, and I still haven't seen him. He lives in Texas. But what I do now is I write letters. And what I do is I put the date on the letter, and I still get toys for him and stuff. But I write letters to say, hey, this is what's going on in my life. This is what's happening. You got a sister, you got a little brother, and I tell him what's going on, because one day he's gonna get that letter and be like, man, my daddy really did look out for me the same way the Lord left a letter for us to read. And we should be in that letter because he left words on the page for us. Thank you for our Heavenly Father.
Chris, thank you. I like that. I like that. Chris, I would like for the young people to connect with me on social media. I like to keep up with them and what's going on.
Okay.
All three of your guests, I would like to keep up with everybody.
Yes, sir. We can do that. I'll give you information.
Okay.
Thank you. But Griswold, you said something to spark something in me, man. I know we probably got like a minute or two left. Same here, man. I didn't even know my daughter was born. She was born in Minnesota, Minneapolis. You know, I didn't know she was born. I didn't know she was here until I found out like a year or so later. You know,
Wow.
and when I found out that she was born, be honest with you, my first response was she can't be mine.
Yeah.
You know, because I'm like almost 2 years later. You said you know, but when I found out that she was, I've never taken a blood test. But when I found out she was, man, when I saw her, I knew that's my daughter, man.
Right. Yeah.
And so when she was here at 2 years old, man, I wanted to keep her. I told her mother, I said, listen, I'm going to keep her down here with me. You got all my contact information. My grandmother's number never changed. Yeah. This. I'm stable work history. And she actually sent for somebody to come back and pick her up, man. And the only reason why I sent her back because to live with her mother was I felt that would have been the right place. I would have never wanted to take my daughter from her mom. Period. Gotcha. You know what I'm saying? That would have devastated me. But I wanted her with me. You know what I'm saying? Because I knew that my thing was secure. You know, but she stayed with her, man. And since that time, my daughter's 22 right now. And since that time, man, our relationship has not been the best, you know, and it's been hit and miss. I've got 50 different numbers in my phone because they change the numbers so much. But that never stopped me from doing as you said. I didn't write letters, but I sent money Western Union. I sent money MoneyGram. I called whenever number I could call. And I found out that you know, she was trying to reach out to me. You know, and to this day at 22, our relationship still isn't the best. But you know, when we do talk, man, it's a pretty good conversation. So you know what I'm saying? Like you said, never give up.
Yeah.
Never give up.
Write a letter.
Don't ever give up. Yeah. Send a prayer. Gotta send that prayer, man, to get out there, man. But yeah, thanks again, y'all. Listen, y'all listen to Street Therapy. This is your man Chris CJ sitting in the air chair. All my guests, thank you guys for tuning in. Hey, happy Father's Day to you fathers, man. We bless Dr. Youngblood. Happy Father's Day to you, sir. Take care, man.
Father, thank you.
My pleasure.
Yeah, and I wanted to say too, for Dr. Youngblood, I know you can't see these guests, but you're all on screen together. So if you go to our Facebook page, you can see the young people. You can see all of them because with Zoom, we're all seeing you. You just can't see anybody but Chris, right?
Yeah, you can see half their face.
But we're all on screen together. So go to KUAW Radio, and you can pick us up on YouTube, Periscope, or Facebook.
Okay.
And you'll get to see these young people.
Okay, I appreciate it.
And I'll send it to you, Doc.
All right.
Okay.
All right, y'all take care.
You too.
Happy Father's Day. All the fathers.